Welcome back to Dom's Corner, everybody. I am your host, Dom Martino, and sitting over to my left is Mr. Cisco Scartozzi. Cisco, how you doing today?
Pretty good. What's up, Dom? Good to be here.
Right on. And yeah, so we're going to talk about some stuff today. We got David Ayer reacting to his cut not being made. So that should be fun to read. We got Michael Keaton maybe teasing the fact that he is going to be Batman again, and so a lot of fun stories to dive into. We got most important topic I think is the fact that Ace Ventura 3 is going to be happening, so that'll be fun to talk about. So we'll get into all that here in a bit, but yeah, guys, thanks for joining, and if you haven't already, please hit the like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, and share this with your friends. And make sure you hit that bell for notifications also. I don't want Jareth to come in here and slap me if I, don't make sure I mention that. So, did you... I don't know if you ever caught that old episode that we did where Jareth got, so mad about, hitting the bell for notifications because I didn't mention that. And
I didn't. It was live on air. You caught this angry reaction?
He didn't get mad. He got, really, excited almost. He was just like, oh, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. So every show I try to pick on him because of it now, because he just...
I mean, it's hilarious. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
running bit. That's like on my my show on stereo. I don't know, one of the first episodes, my co-host was talking about one of his reviewer buddies, and he was just like, yeah, my coworker Bruce, and I just was like, shout out to Bruce. And then so now every time Bruce gets brought up on the show, I'm like, shout out to Bruce. now it's just a running bit on the show.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I love when that happens.
Oh, me too. You gotta love those running gags. They don't pop up all the time, but when they do,
Yep.
they're just gold. They're just gold. Yeah, we don't have a lot of running gags. We need to get more somehow,
Yeah.
but they need to
And that's
happen
for
on
the-
accident. You know what I mean?
That's for the real fans. The real fans know the
Right.
running jokes. That's how
Right.
you know you got a real fan.
Exactly. No, they need to happen on accident. That's the problem. It's I can't just make up a running gag. They need to happen on accident. We have, I don't know, we don't really have a lot. We got, when Adam's on, we have Uncle Tony, which I think he's only done once, actually. So I wouldn't even call it a running gag, but I plan for that to be a running gag. I've
seen the Trump impressions.
We had the
up
Trump
here a couple
impressions.
times.
Yeah. we got Randy Kyle Trevor, which is a character I do from time to time. It's just a guy who's an idiot, comes up with the most hot takes in the world, and that's just because we were talking about. Did you ever hear that? Were you on that day on stereo when the guy brought up Bad Ben?
Mad Men?
Bad Ben.
Bad Ben, no.
No,
I'm not
we were
familiar.
going through favorite horror movies, and so people kept chiming in, and somebody, I guess he was joking, but I felt so terrible.
It's the worst horror movie ever.
It's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I did catch that episode actually. I did, yes.
And so Randy Kyle Trevor
That was hilarious.
basically is the guy that is picking on the guy that I thought the guy was who recommended Bad Ben, because we were giving him so much shit, and I felt so bad about it, but that's Randy Kyle Trevor now, so that's
Well, I've never heard of that before that episode, so that was I haven't checked it out though, but it sounds crazy.
I got 20 minutes in, man, and I just couldn't. I was laughing too hard. I thought it was so bad that
Because I remember specifically, I forget, one of you guys was like, guys, there's so bad it's good movies, and then there's this, you were
right.
you're like, this is on a whole other level. You were
is.
breaking down there's The Room and Sharknado, and then there's this.
It's terrible, man. I'm telling you, this
yeah.
guy, he just walks around his house with a camera the whole time, and the one shot that made me laugh was when he was talking about, he had, I don't even know if it was his house he was in, but he's like, there's no lights on in here, I better call the electricians about that. And then he flips his phone over for no apparent reason and gets a shot of his own face, and he's just like, okay. And then so then he flips it back, and then he just keeps talking about the power again. I don't know why. It made no sense. One of the most pointless cuts I've ever seen in a film before.
And it's supposed to be a horror film?
I guess. I don't know. The light. Well, he gets to the house and there's like about 100 newspapers on the porch for whatever reason. He's like, that's peculiar. And then he just walks in and of course the lights are out and he starts talking about the power being out. So
I think someone compared it to Paranormal Activity-ish too, like I guess, or like that's what he was trying to go for.
Yeah, it didn't work.
But yeah.
It's too bad.
Found footage is not for everybody. Just because it looks like anyone can do it doesn't mean anyone can do it.
Well, I mean, I swear it was just footage of him breaking into an abandoned house. I mean, why else would there be 100 newspapers sitting on the porch? But for narrative purposes, he tried to make it like it was his own house. It just made me laugh.
Unless the guy just never throws away his newspapers, he just had a collection just sitting at home.
In case I decide to make a feature film one day, I'm keeping these newspapers.
Oh, yeah, these would be great props.
It had to be the mindset there. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Great, we're lagging again. That should go away here any minute. But yeah. So the other thing I was doing today was playing Knights of the Old Republic. You ever played this thing?
What? How old is this one? This is an older game, right?
Old as dirt. I feel like it's pretty old. It's like I'm trying to think of
like PlayStation 2 era.
I think it was Xbox exclusive. So like it was like one of the first not the first. Oh yeah, well probably one of the first like Xbox Star Wars games that came out. Like that was
Then no. I'm sorry. Yeah, cuz I mean I've heard of it. I've always had PlayStation, you know what I mean? So but I've heard, I'm familiar with like people that play it and love that. I know it's like one of the most beloved Star Wars games out there.
It's one of the best games of all time, and like it makes me mad every time I play it because I'm stuck with this Xbox. I don't know if you've ever heard about my PlayStation troubles, but I'm stuck with this Xbox. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But I'm stuck with this Xbox, and it makes me mad every time I play Knights of the Old Republic again because Xbox cannot release content this good like ever again for some reason. Like I don't know why they
set the bar too high.
They refused to make. They really did. They were like refused to put out like great story-based games, and PlayStation has them all. So, I'll tell you about my PlayStation debacle. And you could call me an idiot all you want. That's fine because clearly I'm the only person in the world that was not let in on this secret that once PlayStation 4 came out, all the best games in the world are going to go to PlayStation. So nobody let me in on that secret when I bought the Xbox One, but here I am.
Yeah.
So they were so for me, like I've been an Xbox guy my whole life. I mean, the first Xbox and Xbox 360 were revolutionary as crap, I've grown accustomed to the controller in my defense. I like that controller.
That's good.
PlayStation, what was it? Like 3 comes out. I think The Last of Us came out on PlayStation 3, right? And then it was like the greatest game known to man, like according to most people.
Yeah.
Right.
It was either 3 or like early PS4, like one of the earliest PS4. I can't remember, but yeah, I was definitely like in that in between period. I want to say.
Yeah. Either way,
PS3 to PS4.
That game comes out, and it really had me considering, getting the PS4 because I'd heard so much hype, and I was like, nope, gonna stick with my guns. I'm brand loyal. I'm gonna get the Xbox One.
Yeah.
I got the Xbox One. I actually got that upon launch, believe it or not. So. I grabbed the Xbox One upon launch. I'm on my second Xbox One right now. It was the first one.
Oh, damn.
The first one finally broke down. I did get it on the day of launch, so shit does go bad with your.
It's been a couple of years.
It's been like 7 or 8. But so that happens. Then the Spider-Man game comes out, right? And I'm like, all right, something's going on here. Something is going on here. So, because I obviously can't get that for Xbox. So there was that. And then I started to get really pissed off. And then I felt like in like the final year of like PlayStation 4, you know what I mean, moving into PS5, they like came out with like everything, like God of War, Last of Us 2, fucking now it's Miles Morales and Cyberpunk, and then which I think I get Cyberpunk on the Xbox, but I think that's like the only one. And then you got like what was the you got new God of War coming out, you got what's I'm trying to think of the other one that really pissed me off. Ghost of Tsushima, which everybody talks about.
Yeah,
I'm a story-based game guy, Cisco. I can't live like this. I
me
I
too.
I
Me
feel like
too. I'm story over everything. Yeah.
right. I couldn't live like that. And so like I considered getting the PS4, and then the PS5 was coming out, and I'm like, well, by the time I get a PS4, I'm gonna play it for what 6 months, and then the PS5 will be out. So I've been waiting to get a PS5, and like obviously missed the pre-order for that. Didn't realize they were just gonna go
Yeah.
overnight, and then you couldn't get them, and then. Yeah, just been hunting them down ever since, and I cannot get a PS5 to save my own life. I know everybody's in that boat, but it's like it sucks because
Yeah.
like not only do I have to catch up on the PS5 games that have already come out when I get one, I have the problem of I got to go back and play everything that was PlayStation exclusive since the fucking Last of
PlayStation
Us.
4.
Yeah. And everybody's like, just go get a PS4. They're dirt cheap right now. Like, yeah, but by the time I do that, the PS5s are going to be available to everybody, and I've wasted half my
Right.
investment into that PS5. So it's like it sucks. So that's where I'm at, and it makes me mad because I lashed out at the Best Buy lady the other day because I had it in my cart online, and the shit fucked up, and then I called her up, and I was like,
for the PS5?
yeah, it was in my cart. I caught it. It was in my cart. I was pissed. I called the Best Buy lady and I lashed out at her ass. If she watches, I'm so sorry, but that was not a good day for me. That was a bad day. God damn.
I mean, honestly, like none of what you said though is like your fault. I mean, it's just like, I mean, how are you supposed to know they were gonna snap so hard on the PlayStation exclusives?
Yeah, well,
and you know what I mean? And yeah, what you're saying about the PS5, like that's me too. Like I honestly could wait till it comes out like more available, but like because I've had my PS4 since like 2015 or something,
yeah,
and it's like it still works like perfectly fine, and I have all those games you've mentioned pretty much, like Last of Us, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and I just beat the Spider-Man game too. Finally, dude, it's oh my god, it's like highest recommendation on that game. It's so fucking good, and can't wait to play Miles Morales. God of War, I beat on there. And yeah, I mean it's yeah, like it sucks that they do like exclusives like that because I can't talk with any of my Xbox buddies like about it, or like my brothers, for example. My two like Nico and Rafa are my two like middle brothers. And my younger brother too. Actually, they're all Xbox. So they all play Xbox. I can't even talk to them. Like I'll tell them about some of the Spider-Man stuff, but I'm like, well, they can't relate because they don't have PlayStation. But I mean, it's gonna suck for until I get a PlayStation 5. Honestly, though, still I do want to get my hands. My buddy got one, a digital one,
right?
But I do want the disc one. So because I'm all physical media, So
yeah, I get that.
But I want the 4K capability on there. It's very attractive to me too.
Yeah.
Just like start buying 4K Blu-rays and stuff. And yeah, it's I don't know why, like the limited quantity PS5 thing is just like giving me a headache. So I just stay out of it at this point. I'm just like,
yeah,
I can wait. I'm good. I'm completely happy with the PS4. But I know it's like it sucks for a lot of people that are like want a PS5 like right now, and especially with like the stimulus money coming. I know people are hungry for for shit they don't need right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I agree with that. Yeah, I feel like you're smart because you're not playing this stupid little monkey dance that they're having us all do. With
I know.
Trying to track it.
You'll drive yourself crazy, man. You could drive yourself crazy with that.
I yelled at the lady. I did drive myself crazy. I finally snapped. I'd had enough because it was in the cart, man. That's not my fault that their shit fucked up. I told her, I was like, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna send me the next available PS5 because I had it in the cart. I know I can't prove that to you, but you're gonna send me that next shit. Man.
Yeah.
No, dude, you'll snap. Don't do it.
Did she Did she cave or what?
Oh,
What
dude, they got
happened with
them
that?
fucking
She
trained
just like, sorry.
over there. They got them trained over there for like in case people snap. They have given them psychology lessons because they know how to take care of you and make you feel better about.
They
the
probably have a
situation.
script. They have a script to read off.
Yeah,
in case,
they do.
You know, in
I'm
case
telling
of
you.
that.
She was a pro. This was not her first rodeo, man. She knew exactly what to say because she has like clearly dealt with people that were pissed off about the same thing. You know what I mean? Like clearly you could tell.
No, Best Buy they be like that too. Because I remember I was trying to return or exchange something the other day, even because I'm like, hey, there's like this huge crack in this Blu-ray. Like, can I exchange it? I had the same exact title. Just like I picked out a different one, so I'm like, can I just exchange it? She's like, sorry, because you already kind of opened it. It can't be. It can only be exchanged for the same title. And I was like, I have the same title right here. Like I picked that out for you,
right,
to exchange it. And she's like, oh, okay, sorry, I didn't see that. And I'm like, damn, man.
No, they know what they're doing.
It's not my fault y'all sold me a cracked case, you know what I mean? But I'm noticing a lot of stores like cramping down on that type of shit, man. Physical media, it sucks. Like,
yeah, don't let them fool you. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
They do, for sure.
Yeah, no, Best Buy is they're pros, man. They're pros. Although I hate when you get the ones over there that are like they think they're smarter about something than they are. It's like you've clearly done more research on something than they have, but you're just trying to get some help from them to get some like further.
Good luck trying to find help in a Best Buy.
Right. No, they'll talk to you, but they'll just pretend like they know what they're talking about a lot of the time. And it's like, no, I'm done talking to you. Get out of here. Get me somebody who knows what they're doing.
Always go in knowing, like, doing your research. That's a good pro tip right there.
Right.
For going into a Best Buy, because they'll send you off with some shit that you don't even need. You know what I mean? Or try and upsell you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they will. They sure will.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I was happy for the longest time. Frank, who I knew over there, was a guy I knew over there, and so I was happy when he worked there because he didn't try to fuck me, you know. I went in, he was a straight shooter, and he knew what he was talking about, but now he doesn't work there anymore, so unfortunately.
That sucks.
Yeah. No.
R.I.P. Frank.
R.I.P. Frank, yeah. I haven't talked to him in years. He might actually be dead. I haven't heard from him in a long time, but
just took a dark turn on the Dom's corner.
No, he's not like a close friend. He's like a friend of a friend. So like, you know, I know him from that. Like we've hung out in the same circles quite a bit. But he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Yeah. He'll probably send me a text after this. Don't talk about me on your show.
It's funny too, because like my dad's name is Frank. I'm just picturing my dad like in a Best Buy like blue vest. He could work at Best Buy, honestly. He'd probably fit in.
I don't know why this reminded me of this. The Sandler movie, Mr. Deeds. Have you seen that?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I have a poster up somewhere.
Oh, nice.
Or insert.
Yeah, the part where he's like, maybe it's Frank, maybe it's Longfellow. I don't know. Well, I know another guy named Frank. Want me to call him up?
That's one of the better Sandler ones.
It's a good
early 2000s run for sure.
It's a good run. The original Mr. Deeds is good too. If you ever seen it.
Oh yeah, I haven't. I know. Yeah, I remember that being a remake though when that came out. Like someone told me that. I was like, oh shit.
They're both comedies. So I mean, that's oh god, that
it's like an older one though, right? That's like older.
Yeah. I can't remember the actor. It's not Jimmy Stewart, but the director is the same director of two classic Jimmy Stewart movies. It's a Wonderful Life, and I can't think of the guy's name. What's the other? Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Because the original Mr. Deeds is called Mr. Deeds Goes to Town. Yeah, but it's the same Frank something. Frank, it really is Frank something. The director's name,
Frank.
I can't remember his name, but he makes some good.
That's
flips.
like when Eddie Murphy did the Nutty Professor remake, which I like. I think that's a funny movie, but I know that was like a remake too of an older. I forget his dude's name too.
Jerry Lewis, I think.
Jerry Lewis.
I think it was Jerry Lewis that did it.
Yeah, Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, I saw they used to have this really cool Blu-ray box of it, and I can't find it anymore. I always thought about buying it.
Oh, with the original too?
Yeah. It was like, well, no, it didn't have the new ones. It was just the original, but it had like all these bonus.
Oh, just the original.
Yeah. It was nice. It was like a really big ass box. just for that original movie, and I always wanted to get it because it was always dirt cheap. It wasn't like expensive to buy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I always kind of wanted.
I know my dad picked up. I think it was like Shout Factory did they released the Eddie Murphy ones 1 and 2 on one
did they?
one disc. Yeah, and he picked it up, and that was a pretty good release.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
So if you're into those movies, I would look into that.
For sure, I like a lot of Shout Factory stuff. Yeah, I feel like you and I could talk physical media all day, just because we're both collectors.
All day.
We've been through the struggle, but like, how's it been trying to collect physical media like since the pandemic? Have you found it to be harder, or do you not care as much?
It's an interesting question, actually. But I feel like not to even just be picking on Best Buy the whole time. But like their physical media section has been going down like every time I go, so it's like really sad. Like now it's down to like one aisle, like 2 sides of Blu-rays, and then like one stand of 4Ks, and that's it.
It sucks.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And so and then during the pandemic, I think it was bad because obviously there was no new releases coming out really. In terms of the movie theaters, and then that kind of translates to like the new releases on the Blu-rays. They usually come out a couple months after that, so we didn't have that though.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like physical media wise, I really didn't go that crazy during the pandemic. I think I definitely took advantage. I probably watched more streaming stuff during the pandemic than I ever have before, because it was just right there. You're at home. You know what I mean? I still use Redbox. I'm pretty good with like doing Redbox and checking stuff out there. But yeah, physical media wise, I would check out some of the local shops here and there a couple times. But yeah, it's getting real bad, man. It's getting real bad in terms of, because even like at Target, it's the same thing. Like their new releases is just sad. I was talking about, because I just did a review of Wrong Turn, the reboot, the other day on this guy, Movie Lovers, TV Lovers Unite, his YouTube page, and I was saying, because usually when I do reviews on there, I like to get the Blu-ray and watch the features, so I kind of have a background on the production side of things, and I couldn't find the Blu-ray anywhere, dude. It's like it's a new release. It just came out like a couple months ago, and I remember I went into Best Buy the week that it like came out. They didn't have it. So I'm like, it's a new release. It's obviously it's not like a major studio release or anything like that. But I'm like, so they're not even carrying like new releases from like lower companies anymore. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. So yeah, not good for us as collectors, honestly. What about you though? How's it been for you during?
I cut
the
down
pandemic?
big time, and that's not like. It wasn't a statement of I'm gonna stop collecting physical media. It's just it's next to impossible to do now. Like I definitely I tried to order I tried to use the pandemic as like an advantage to order a lot of like older stuff that I haven't been able to pick up yet. You know what I mean? But just order it on Amazon. Like I
ordered a lot too. I ordered a lot more too. Yeah.
Right. And then once it all starts to come back, that way I'm like I feel like I'm so much more caught up on things that I've always wanted to get, and and I definitely, the problem is like I would get it and then like I just never got around to like watching a lot of it either. You know what I mean? So there's still definitely a lot I need to catch up on watching. I feel like for sure, because I was watching new stuff constantly. I felt like it was weird because I felt like I was ordering old stuff more, but watching new stuff more, because I think it was just like the fact of easily having the new shit like readily available at your fingertips now, made me want to watch it more. But even when I was watching new stuff, it was like I really just want to own this. Like if there was something that was really good, like I was like I just need it now. The fact that I can watch it at home felt a little like. There was something about it. This is going to sound weird, but there was something about it that felt illegal to me to like watch something from home without owning it yet, and so that was something that I really had to adjust to. But like it scares the shit out of me because I feel like all this stuff behind me is going to become obsolete, which might be a good thing in terms of its value later on down the line. But like the reason I collect physical media, and I don't know what like your reasoning is in this day and age, but number one, there is a feeling, and I feel like for people who don't collect physical media, they don't understand that there is a feeling about having the case, having the artwork, having that in front of you. Like, you feel better about watching the movie when you have all that. I don't know if that's just like a feeling that a select few people get, but there is just something that feels better about that. The second thing is like, I want to have kids one day, and I want them to be able to watch, my library. I want to leave a legacy behind in that way. Is like, these are the films that Dad watched, like, because like that was something that I kind of had, you know what I mean? Like, my parents had physical VHS tapes, and they would, I used to watch those, and it's like, oh, these are, the films that, kind of brought my parents up, and it just shaped a lot of who I am today. And I want, if I ever have kids, I want them to have that same opportunity to be able to pop in my physical media and be like, these are pause films, these are the films that are going to shape me, you know what I mean? And just like I want that, so I think that's important to me. And just like, or if I ever passed away, you know what I mean, it's almost like I'm leaving something behind to the people, who I should probably make up a will or something to
I was just gonna say, man, it's gonna be your will. Like, you get my Star Wars collection,
right?
Like,
I should probably get on that. I'm gonna have one of the most difficult wills of all time when you see that collection behind me. But yeah, no, man, it's been weird, man, and like I miss, like, I used to love the thrill of the hunt for physical media. Like, I used to just, my friend and I talk about it all the time. It's the thrill of the hunt, just because you can't find it, it's just cool to go out there hunting. And now the hunt is like pointless because you're not going to find what you're looking for. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like there's not a shot in hell. I got one place, Disc Replay, that sells like old physical media, you know what I mean, like used physical media, and so that's good because I mean, at least you could maybe find stuff there. But like, once you've cleaned that place out, they don't get more shit in until God knows when. So it's like, it's just, it kind of sucks, man. It's a different ball game altogether. On the same hand, I am still trying to build, and I've really been hitting it this year, my digital collection as well, because I know that one day this is not going to be, it's not going to matter anymore, the way that it did. And so I like to make sure that, and even if I buy something digitally though, it's like, I need to get it on physical too, so like, I want to have both, so it's just because not everything comes with a code either, that's the other part of it,
exactly.
And so, I don't know. I'm kind of picky about the collection. Like, I definitely like to have everything Blu-ray for sure, at least, or 4K Blu-ray, that was one of the perks about the Xbox, is they do have a 4K player, and they always have. So I always kind of had that at my, dispense. But I just, I don't know, man. I miss the thrill of the hunt. I miss going out there. And I get it. Like, a lot of the reason that, this stuff got taken away is probably because they didn't want people going out there and hunting, because they know we're stupid enough to do it. And, walking into Best Buy has been a weird experience. That's for sure. Or Target or whatever, you know what I mean? I still collect CDs, for crying out loud, like music CDs. Like, if there's an album that I think is great, I'm getting it. It's the same feeling. It's like there's something about just holding it. You know what I mean? And just being able to have it, and the artwork, and it's just, there's a whole thing that goes with it. You know what I mean? Or the fact that you can get multiple different editions of the movies that you love, and just things like that. It's, but I'm glad that people like Zavi or, Shout Factory, and they're keeping it alive, so I don't feel like it's necessarily going to go away. I just feel like it's going to be slim pickings. It already is, so that's kind of the problem that we run into.
No, that's beautiful, man. The whole passing on the torch thing. That's a better reason that I'm gonna have, honestly, to tell you. I think just where it started for me, like, I probably got it from my dad. Like, my dad is a collector, always has been, from DVDs, and then I obviously did the transition from DVDs to Blu-ray. He did all of them. I think he did the VHS to DVDs to Blu-ray. So like, he's had 3 transitions, but I feel like I came in like just for Blu-rays, honestly, is when I started collecting. And I tell people all the time, because like you said, like, a lot of people don't get it. Honestly, part of it is the holding it in your hand and having it. I definitely have that too. The other part is, I'm just like, it's just better quality. You don't, like, true. you can own it on DVD, but it's not going to be 1080 quality. You know what I mean? It's not, you can tell the difference. And I know some people don't even care about that. They don't even notice it.
Yeah.
But I notice it. I've had enough now, and I've seen, like, especially I tell people, I'm like, if you love 80s movies and 90s movies or whatever, and that don't necessarily look great when they came out on DVD, or just like from your memory, that you pop in some of those Blu-rays of those 80s movies, and it's like seeing it for the first time, dude.
100%.
It's like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
The quality that they do when they remaster it for Blu-ray and 4K. So
Right.
I definitely tell people it's worth it. And then another reason too is just because people will be like, well, I have a lot of streaming services, and I'm like, that's cool, but you don't own any of those movies on there. They could at any point take away any of those movies on there, and they can, and they do, because they have licensing to where they can only have these movies for a certain amount of time. And so everyone's sad about The Office leaving and stuff like that. And I was going, why don't you buy it? It's on Amazon right now. You guys talk about The Office like it's the best show ever made. It's like the Blu-ray was like 150 on Amazon or something like that. And I'm like, if you watch it religiously like that, that's worth your investment.
It's worth your money.
That's like 8 seasons of stuff.
Instead of paying monthly for a streaming service where you only watch it, where you only watch that one thing, like, because it's on Peacock right now. You're probably only going to watch The Office, Parks and Rec, Cheers. You can go buy all those right now, and it's a lot more worth your buck. And I also like the fact that bonus features is a big thing, and it's a big.
I was just going to say that too. That's the other thing. Media. You don't get bonus features, and part of the appeal of going to boutique services like Scream Factory, Shout Factory, Criterion Collection,
right.
And I can't think of the other one right now. There's a bunch of them, but they put in care into their releases and put bonus features on there for the fans. Like, I mean, Scream Factory just put out in this last year Friday the 13th, a huge set of every single Friday the 13th movie ever made. And so for a fan like me who loves all the Friday the 13th movies, I hopped on that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference in some of those, like, you can't find the uncut Jason Goes to Hell release. Like, and you can't, especially on streaming, you can't find it on there. But they have it in the set. And again, some of those older original, like I think the first 4, which a lot of people argue are the best ones anyway. The quality of how they restored those is just, it's so good. Like, and they found some extra footage from part 2 and they put it back in the movie. Like, they don't do that on streaming. You don't get that care and stuff put into streaming stuff. They just throw it on there and they're like, here, you can stream it. And we get paid for you streaming it. So
right. Now I was going to bring up an example right here. Look at this. This is a moment in history right here. This thing's going to become obsolete before you know it now. And like,
that's the 2017 one.
Yeah. And you want to have it to remember it. You know what I mean? Just to remember that this was a moment of time. Yeah. I
have the steelbook of that. I had it.
Nice.
I had it in the background last time we were talking about reviewing it. But yeah, I have that, and like the same reason you just said, I'm like, that's, even though it's not a great movie by any means,
it's history
I still went and bought it, and I'm like, that's the first Justice League movie we have, live action Justice League movie we have. Right. So
it's like we're gonna be able to prove that we were there, when the Justice League shit went down, like we remembered what it was like to see that original. And
when Joss Whedon was still working, when he was a name in Hollywood.
Yeah, I had the Avengers up there somewhere too, just to prove that.
Oh yeah, he was all the Avengers definitely have to own those. I mean, because you could have Disney Plus or whatever, and that's great. But like you said, bonus features, commentaries. The quality of owning it. I mean, some of those Disney classics, are it's not like Disney Plus has everything in their library. They take some stuff off of there too. So it's like, owning some of those Disney films is smart too, because like I said, you do not own it. Just because you're a subscriber to this service, you do not own these movies.
Exactly.
The only way you own the movie is if you buy the Blu-ray or the DVD or any physical copy of it. Then you can say that you own it.
Well, like I have Vudu, and you can own movies through that, and you can actually buy some movies on Amazon.
Digital copies as well. I'll argue that too. But some people have said that some of their movies that they have on digital too are getting taken away. I've heard some horror stories that way too. So I don't know. Even that.
Well,
I'm
there
kind
was
of
what was it? Google Play. Remember they had
yeah
their movie store. The whole service got
yeah
shut down, so people
yep.
can't have any of it now. And like they did
And that
offer
can
like
happen at any minute. That can happen at any minute.
could
You don't know.
and they did offer exactly, and they did offer like transfer strategy for people so they could transfer to a
Yeah.
new service. That's cool, but that service might not have everything that you had. And like I
Hmm.
heard a lot of horror stories about that, or like just certain things just didn't get transferred properly. It's like, well, you can't call Google Play about it anymore because they're not a service anymore. So it's like, can't
They
even go complain to them. It's
the
like
same thing happened with Flickster, which shut
Flickster. That's
down,
right. That's
and
right.
they have it's movies everywhere now. But and so like the same
Yeah.
thing you said, they had a period where you could transfer your stuff over to movies everywhere, but a lot of people aren't as invested in this type of stuff like me
You're
and you,
right.
and their shit just
It just
disappeared. I
disappeared. It
guess
was
you know what I
gone.
mean.
Yeah, it was
So
gone. Yeah.
so I physical is like the guaranteed, and I like the digital stuff too because just as a recent example, like so I have my PS4 in here in my room, and then downstairs for the TV, like I don't have anything
Yeah.
for physical playing, so and that's kind of where me and my roommates like watch stuff like together
Right.
and stuff like that, and
Right.
so other day we're looking through and on the Apple TV app it has all my digital copies of the stuff I recently bought like on there in the library. And I was like, "You ever seen Promising Young Woman? I just bought that," and it showed up on the Apple TV. And he's like, "No," and so I played it. We
Yeah.
watched it,
See, that's awesome.
and to have that kind of, you know what I mean. Hopefully, I can get the PS5, and I'm thinking that'll be my, the living room player, and then
Yeah.
I'll do the PS4 up here, or vice versa, something like that.
Right. Right.
But to have that kind of the library up here, physical library, and then it kind of just is downstairs in the digital form. That's to me that's the best case scenario,
Right.
where you can have your library on the go now. You can have it on my laptop. If I'm going on vacation soon, I have all my digital copies on my laptop. Can watch it. Don't have to bring Blu-rays on vacation with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see the value of both. Honestly, I'm not like a hater on either side.
Of course. I just, there's something to just, growing up the way I did, I guess, because I'm from the VHS era. It's like, so there's just something that feels icky to me about like relying on the internet to see a movie. That just feels weird to me. It's just like that really sucks because like what are you gonna do when the internet goes out for a day?
Yeah.
Like you got physical. I'm fine. I got plenty of physical shit I can put on. It keeps
Yeah.
me busy. It's like if your internet goes out, I get like why people want to rely on this digital age.
Yeah, internet
because,
exactly. There was internet issues this last year for sure, in places like Texas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if you had physical media, there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like you still need electricity for that, but
Sure.
it helps. It helps. I'm saying.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hopefully your portable DVD player has a lot of battery by the time the power goes out.
Oh my God, portable DVD players. People don't even know that exists probably anymore. That's crazy.
No, I mean now you got your computers and you just pop it in your disk drive and it'll play anything anymore. You could just go.
They don't even my computer I'm using right now doesn't even have a disk drive. They don't even make disk drives anymore for new computers. Sad, man. Sad.
Yeah. No, mine doesn't either. Honestly, I've been considering for travel reasons just to get because they sell the external ones. You could just plug it into USB.
I have one.
You have one of those, yeah.
Yep.
So I just need to do that at some point, but just for travel purposes. But yeah, no, this did not get sold with a disc in it and a disc drive in it. So that sucks. Yeah, I missed that.
It's just it does seem like it's going down, and it's sad, but I mean the boutique services Criterion, I can't recommend them enough if you're like a movie lover. Their stuff is just insane. They just gave me a month worth of their Criterion streaming service, and I just watched a movie on there for the first time, and they have a whole 70s horror section, and I'm a horror buff, so I'm like I'm making a list of stuff I can probably watch in like the month where I'm like, okay, let me see if I can watch some of these. But it's their library is insane of everything they have, and especially their physical stuff that they have. Like it's highest quality they put into it. It's second to none. If you ever have an issue, I've emailed them before with like damaged stuff that I've gotten in the mail. They're on it. Right. They'll immediately send you another one. They don't you know what I mean? They're not like, sorry.
Yeah.
Like if you read our receipt, it says, sold as is. Like some places, no, they take care of you. So that stuff goes a long way because a lot of these smaller shops or Best Buy, these companies, they don't care. They're like, well,
yeah.
you can't. Yeah, sorry, you can't return it.
Yeah, no,
So
these
like,
boutiques, like they're just typically they're just nerds like us that just wanted to open up their
yeah,
own shop and get licensing to make their own editions of things, and
yeah,
yeah, it's a real big money maker for especially if because collectors like us will spend good
hmm
money on some of these editions that they put out. But
yeah.
yeah, no, I was gonna give another great example of why he should get physical media, and I don't know if you can see it very well. I have Game of Thrones up there. It's to the right here. I don't know if I will, because that's like the whole Game of Thrones set right there. But
Okay,
anyway,
yeah.
my point
I have
was
season 1. That's it for Game of Thrones, but I will buy the set eventually.
my yeah, my point was though is like and I'm gonna get this. They put out the 4K on Steelbook now, and you
Ooh,
can't watch
yeah,
them in 4K quality on HBO. It's like so.
yeah,
There's a good
exactly.
example for you. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes you just get better quality that you
hmm
can't find even on streaming. Even the streaming service that owns the shit can't even put it out
hmm
in that quality for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
it's just like there's so many good reasons anymore to do it. And like
Yeah.
yeah. By the way, real cool thing that's coming is the Indiana Jones Steelbook set. I'm so
I
excited.
saw that. I
I'm
saw that. I have it
4K for
on
the first
Blu-ray,
time.
the set on Blu-ray, but
Yeah, I do too.
yeah, if I get the PS5, I'm definitely diving into the 4K game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably with certain titles. Now, I'm not gonna like rebuild my whole library, like go that crazy, but
Yeah.
certain like Indiana Jones, that is something that for 4K that
Oh
would
yeah,
definitely be.
just get it
Yeah,
anyway
those
because the
are
steelbooks are beautiful. And
right,
they look so
exactly.
cool, and they've never been released on 4K before, and eventually you will
Right.
get 4K. But yeah, I had a
hmm
boss a long time ago who used to buy all these 4Ks, and I always be like, you don't have a 4K player, It's like, why are you even bothering with the 4Ks? And he's like, I'm investing in the future, Dom. I'm investing in the future. All right, it's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair. It's fair.
Yeah, and
Um,
another thing that happened too was like, so speaking of the Friday the 13th set, which is amazing by the way, I highly recommend it. I think they keep reducing the price on Amazon too, so you can still get it.
yeah.
But there's fans that noticed like some things that were off in the restorations of certain ones, like
Mm-hmm.
part 3 is in 3D, and I guess there was a part that wasn't in 3D on their disc.
Oh, interesting.
And there was a thing in part 9 which it was the uncut version, but it was a rated R cut of it, like of some of the kills were not the uncut
Yeah.
and certain things like that. So fans were complaining about it, and kudos to Scream Factory. They acknowledged they fucked up
Yeah.
on like a couple things here and there, and they sent everyone who pre-ordered like me or who ordered. All you had to do was send them your receipt. They sent you the replacement disc, like what I mean, in the
Nice.
mail
Nice.
within like a month or two. So
I like that.
yeah, it's like what I mean. They take care of you. It's not like you're just out in the water. You know what I mean? It's that stuff goes a long way for me, honestly,
Right.
because it's like, yeah, if you're watching it on a streaming service, they're not gonna say if it's the uncut version or the rated R version.
It's
More
true.
often than not, they're not. So you don't know what version you're getting.
Exactly.
In this way, for sure. You watch Jason Goes to Hell. They have the uncut version. You're getting all the gnarliest kills and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed you were talking about Criterion though. This is actually really interesting because I noticed like HBO has like a lot of stuff that like you can only get on Criterion. I realized that like that's crazy to me. Like HBO
Mm,
Max right now, they got like Seven Samurai, like all the Kurosawa movies are on there, which is great. Which I guess as long as
yeah.
they're Warner Brothers, they would be. You would think, but I think that's cool
Right.
that they're actually getting their rare classics on their network. On their
The
streaming
Godzilla
platform.
films,
Yeah.
I know they have some of the old school ones on
Mm-hmm.
HBO Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, HBO Max. I'm kind of impressed that they have kind of an older, because that's another problem I have with streaming services too. Not to keep bashing them. I have a lot of them. You know what I mean? I still
Oh
use
yeah,
them.
for sure.
It's great for new releases and stuff like that. But
Right.
a lot of the streaming services, you look at how old their libraries go. It's like 20 years ago, and then that's it. And that's their cut. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
certain like in certain select things from like the 90s and the 80s. But I'm like, what if you're trying to watch something from the 60s, or the original Godzilla
Yeah.
film, to get ready for the new one? It's like, good luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna help you out in terms of that. And that's where physical media comes in. Shout out to HBO Max for caring enough to put some of the older ones. I actually think HBO Max is one of the best streaming services right now, in terms of just their new release content and their older libraries of putting both there for people. So yeah, but again, yeah, the Criterion stuff, like I have some movies that like I've never seen streaming from like the 50s and 60s and what have you, like before, from even earlier than that. You're not going to find it on a streaming service because it's not going to get them clicks.
No, it's not.
Views.
Yeah, and so that's a lot of what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but like HBO Max, I don't agree with a lot of Warner Brothers decisions lately in terms of how they've treated their employees. But I mean, their service is really stepped up, and it is becoming the one that I tend to use a lot recently. Like, I think I use that, Disney Plus. I'm barely on Netflix. I'm barely on Prime. I use there's one more I use a lot.
Hulu.
Yeah, I do. I do use Hulu a lot, I guess, to watch their shows like sitcoms and things that I like that are on Hulu. And
Hulu's got some good shows. TV is Hulu's bag.
The movie selection is actually really good right now too. I was looking at it the other day. I was like, wow, yeah, way to go Hulu, because they have a really good like film selection right now. Like Nomadland, I watched on there, and like that was really great.
Well, it's completely the new release format has just changed tremendously. I've watched so many new releases on Netflix and stuff that are like awards contenders, and like Nomadland, which is like probably right now one of the top two contenders of best movie during the Oscars right now. You can watch on Hulu. And I think for a movie like that, it can only help that they have it on there, because in years before, people complain like, I've never seen that movie. I didn't catch it in the theaters, and it's not out yet on physical, or you know what I mean, like to rent.
It's true.
But you can watch it on Hulu right now, and I do think as far as like physical media we're talking about, like I do think that strategy of HBO Max is taking advantage of it too, with new releases, and you get a month to watch it, and then after that it's off of there. I do think these new strategies, Disney Plus doing the same thing, that's going to be something they're adapting to the times. Of just people have these streaming services for a reason, and they do want to see it. I mean, you can argue about Disney Plus still charging people money for some of these releases and stuff like that. But Nomadland being on there, that was great. I mean, I wanted to see it in the theater. But as we know, that's no longer a viable option depending on where you live and what your theater situation looks like near you. So I watched it on Hulu, and it's fantastic. I still really enjoyed it, and had a good time with it. So that's just amazing right there, that you can watch one of the best movies of the year on Hulu right now.
Yeah,
crazy.
I agree. I think that they had like 3 of the best movies of the year this year. I feel like with some of their originals that Hulu had, so they've been stepping it up too. Like Nomadland, I mean Palm Springs, and then the other one earlier in the year.
Palm Springs was great too.
That was a good movie.
Wow,
it was a really good
what
movie.
A time! And the fact that you can just plop it on again, you know what I mean? If you want to watch it again, there you go. You can watch it again on there. Yeah.
And they had Big Time Adolescence earlier in the year. That was a really good flick. Yeah, so they've had good.
I like that one too.
Yeah.
Even though King of Staten Island kind of has gotten
more
of the acclaim, I think I prefer Big Time Adolescence personally. I like that one quite a bit. Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna go the King of Staten Island on that one, but I still really like.
They're very similar. They're very similar. I mean, Pete Davidson is the star of King of Staten Island, and he's not necessarily the star of Big Time Adolescence.
Yeah, he's like the side character. Yeah, he's very much on the side.
But I don't know. I just enjoyed the ride of that one better. I like both of them still. I had a great time watching both of them still. But,
I mean, I was gonna say Judd Apatow with King of Staten Island and Trainwreck. Man, that guy has been making hits. He's a really talented director.
I think that was one of the ones I didn't pay for a lot of new releases that because they had that when theaters were down. I think King of Staten Island was one I paid for.
Oh, I did pay for that.
It was okay.
Yeah. That was one of those trailers I watched, and I was like, I know I'm going to love this movie. I'm going to pay for it. It's like, this movie looks like it's so up my alley. It's Judd Apatow. I always support Apatow. I always see his films when they come out in theaters. I'm definitely going to pay for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, Yeah.
You know what I think is interesting too is that you know, I'm not a big rom-com guy, honestly, but like Netflix has kind of brought the genre back,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I understand, with like some of their rom-com stuff.
Yeah.
And but Hulu had Happiest Season. I don't know if you were able to catch
I
that.
didn't watch it. I know about it, but I didn't watch it.
Okay,
That was oh
that
crap.
was
Remind me of who's in that again, because I can't think of the
it's
actress.
yeah, it's Kristen Stewart
Right.
and Mackenzie Davis and
Mackenzie
Aubrey
Davis is who I
Plaza.
was trying to think of. Yeah.
Yeah, and
She.
dude, that was a really solid
I
Christmas,
hear it's
you
good.
know, movie.
I hear it's
It's
good.
funny. It was funny, and you know, you get to see kind of a Christmas story, awkward family
Yeah.
comedy from like a queer perspective,
Yeah.
and
I hear it's
yeah,
great.
it was solid, man.
Yeah.
For like you said, like Hulu kind of brought it a lot this last year or two. I think
Yeah, I'll probably pop that one
so.
on next holiday season because like I was planning to watch it, then I just kind of missed it, and it's like once a holiday movie once you miss a holiday movie during the holidays, it's like it's irrelevant to you till the next holiday
Yeah,
season. You know what I mean? You just got to watch those around
I think
holidays.
it would still work for you, but if you do want to
Oh, I'm
wait,
sure it's
I
good.
will say I did watch it. I did watch it in December. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, when it was Christmas, and you know that might have affected me, just the whole
For sure.
Christmas spirit thing
For
too.
sure.
So that
It
is
always
kind of the
helps.
perfect time to watch it if you want to wait. Yeah,
Yeah, holiday movies always have that like thing back in them. You know, it's you're in
yeah,
the mood for them, so they always have that back in them, and you got to watch it that way because that's how they were made to be
yeah,
experienced, is when you were in the mood for them, and I think that's a good thing. But yeah, you ready to get to some news here? Let's see what we got.
yeah. Let's get into it.
All right, so let's start with this big one. This is a massive story.
All right.
I'm actually surprised by this. I'm not gonna lie to you, like a little bit, but
Yeah,
then
me
again,
too.
I'm not. All right, so Ace Ventura 3 development at Amazon with Sonic the Hedgehog writers. Ace Ventura 3 is reportedly in development at Amazon Prime Video. That big update about Jim Carrey's classic Ace Ventura Pet Detective franchise finally came in the unlikely form of a retrospective about Morgan Creek Entertainment, the film production company that launched films like Ace Ventura or Major League True Romance, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, The Last of the Mohicans, and other 90s cult classics. In an interview about what was the next for the studio, Morgan Creek's team let it be known that Ace Ventura 3 is in the works, and Sonic the Hedgehog writers Pat Casey and Josh Miller are on board. I gotta be real, I still have not seen Sonic the Hedgehog, but I hear it's like one of Jim Carrey's better like classic performances that he's had in a while. And the other thing that I've heard about it is the other thing I want to point out here is I haven't seen Ace Ventura in a long time, like a long time. I know you were kind of talking to me about revisiting that one recently,
Yeah.
I figured you'd be really good to speak on this. So what do you got on this?
So it's very, this is the such a 2021 conversation about this, because I just heard like a trans person talking about this on a podcast actually.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to give away too much about the first Ace Ventura if you haven't, but there's some very problematic trans stuff in it. So spoiler warning for, or like, you know what I mean? Just warning if you haven't seen it and you're interested, there is some very problematic trans stuff. That being said, no movie, I said this to you, I think, no movie has made me laugh harder in my entire life than the first Ace Ventura movie.
Okay.
It kills me. And so I don't know how to wrestle with that. Like, I feel like when I saw it when I was a kid, I had no clue about, you know, transgender issue. You know what I mean? I wasn't even thinking about that. But at the same time, I can recognize how a trans person can see a movie like that, like Ace Ventura or Sleepaway Camp or Dress to Kill, all these movies where the trans person is the villain of the story and feel a certain way about it. And I completely, you know, I'm with you guys on that. But like I said, when I was a kid, I just was looking at Jim Carrey humping the air and talking with his butt cheeks. Like, you know what I mean? Like that. When I think of Ace Ventura, that's what I think about. I mean, you haven't seen Sonic the Hedgehog. It's okay. I mean, Jim Carrey is probably the best thing of it. I will say that. He's probably the best. Yeah. So, I would check that out for that, but we'll see. I mean, Dumb and Dumber 2 was rough. Didn't like that one really at all. And so I'm really kind of, it's a bad record as far as comedies doing sequels years later. You know what I mean? Like, I actually do like When Nature Calls, the second one. I think that's a pretty solid sequel
Yeah.
to that movie, because you do get, you know, Jim Carrey in Africa with the animals, kind of in the elements,
Yeah.
which I thought was funny too. And you know, I'm gonna see it. Like I said, like, you know, Ace Ventura. It's just, like I said, I only focus on Jim Carrey's over the top performance in that. It's not gonna work for everybody, but like, it's just, it does it for me every time.
Right.
It's so funny.
Right.
He's on 150% in that movie.
Yeah.
He's just, they let him let loose, and like, I just love it for that.
Yeah.
I know it's like, it probably doesn't hold up in terms of 2021 standards, but that's how I look at it. Like the sequel, and I am interested to see what they can bring to it. I mean, I hope it's kind of, you know, Sonic was PG, and you know, they didn't really, it's not really edgy. I know the first two are pretty like kind of dirty comedies, dirtier like that. So it's interesting, you know what I mean? And the last time we saw this, for me at least, was Coming to America, the sequel they just did. And I thought that was okay. I didn't hate it.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was all right. But you know, I mean, if they can do something like that, I thought it was a little too fan servicey for me. So hopefully they can bring like a new perspective to it, and kind of, you know, bring Jim Carrey back to just one of his more iconic roles, because like I said, like I love 90s Jim Carrey. Like, that's just, it's gonna work for me more often than not if it's Jim Carrey doing one of those crazy characters. So I'm gonna see it just off of that. But yeah, what do you think though on this story?
I mean, I'm even when I did rewatch Ace Ventura last time, it didn't really make me laugh. So I'm not necessarily a fan of this property. I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm not like huge on this, but
What's your favorite Carrey comedy role then?
Oh, fuck, that's a good question. Probably, you know, I Love You, Philip Morris was really good. It was really a solid movie. I mean,
yeah, I don't know, like, that's like you said, 90s though, like Dumb and Dumber to me is like, that's,
yeah, Dumb and Dumber's up there.
That's,
I mean,
so
if we're gonna
classic.
talk like the crazy Jim Carrey kind of 90s, I would probably say Dumb and Dumber is still the one that's, you know, classic.
That's probably number 2 for me. It's probably Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber. Those are just,
right.
I mean, but Dumb and Dumber 2 was just not, they just did not get it right. I don't know. It tried to be too dirty for me.
I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't Zoolander 2 bad. That was like the worst. But but it was still not great. It was still, I couldn't recommend it to people. Like,
right. I mean, my feelings on this is that, you know, I think a lot of people are gonna dive and watch it. I mean, Ace Ventura is still a cult hit. Let's be real. I mean, this is it's viable for them to do here. I feel like business wise, because they need to. They
made a whole cartoon series of it. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. They
made an Ace Ventura series.
I mean, people want to laugh right now, you know, so make these comedies, make them goofy as hell. Who cares? I mean, I think if anything, what this is going to do, because I still think Jim Carrey is one of the best of all time. Like, despite the fact I'm not a huge fan of this, I want to see him come back. I want to see him come back, and I think that this will help get him back, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that's important. It's an important step for Jim Carrey's career, I think. And so that's why I'm actually more excited about this than anything else. And I'll watch it. And you know what? I've seen it to where, you know, sometimes comedies can like reinvent themselves, as, you know, like a comedy series can reinvent itself throughout time. So I think that, you know, they're definitely going to have to readapt on some level to make sure that, you know, people aren't as offended, you know, but with some of the stuff in the first two. But I think that this could be fun. It could be fun. I'll watch it when it comes out. You know, we'll see. It could end up being something that appeals to me. Like one of the examples I'll give is like, I don't really like Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. To me is one of Kevin Smith's dumbest movies out there, but Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, on the other hand, I really liked. I thought he adapted it with the time, and I thought it like, I really liked it. Like, don't get me wrong, the first one has funny moments, but like, it's not like great to me. I think it's one of his lower on the list for me in terms of Kevin Smith movies. But when he did Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, I was like, I really dig this.
Boo Boo Kitty Fuck.
Yeah, Boo Boo Kitty Fuck. Yeah, that's good stuff. There's some stuff in there for sure, but like, I don't know. I thought Reboot just did it so much better, and I feel like it could be the same thing here with this Ace Ventura thing. We'll see what happens. And like, I've heard a lot of people like This is another good example. Not for me. I like all the Bill and Ted's, but some people, their favorite one is that new one because they said that they liked how it kind of updated
Yeah.
itself with the times, and like so they could do the same thing with the Ace Ventura, and maybe it'll
Or
work better for me.
similarly, in the last year, Bad Boys for Life. A lot of people say that's the best
example.
one too.
I think it is the best one.
I like
two.
I like two the best still, but I mean, I can understand why you don't like two.
I think it's horrible. I like the first one. I'll be honest with you. I do like the first one. I like it. I don't love it. I like it. I grew up on the first one, so I really enjoyed it. But two is rough. Has funny parts for sure. I mean, the Reggie moment is amazing. I mean, Martin Lawrence.
So
taking.
I just think it's the most Michael Bay. It's like, you know what I mean? It's
That's
the most. But dude, that freeway scene is like incredible still. Just right. Flipping cars everywhere. Yeah. It's like before he did it CGI with Transformers. Like, I don't know. That it's the only like Michael Bay I can tolerate, honestly, because Martin Lawrence and Will Smith are so good.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
I always loved hanging out with those characters and everything, like regardless of what situation it was. But like my theory on it was like make a third movie where you put them in like a real heavy stakes situation, and they did that. And then so it did everything I wanted them to always do with those characters, because I always liked the characters. I just hated the premises. But like then now that I thought 3 like gave it a whole new perspective.
I don't know.
And really loved it.
I felt like the directors in 3 were definitely trying to copy Michael Bay, you know what I mean, at certain points, and so that kind of bothered me. And then
they paid tribute. I felt like I don't think it was like copying. I felt like they paid tribute and then like gave.
I know they were premise. Yeah, I know that's what they were trying to do. And then just the whole like witch doctor whatever subplot kind of. I wasn't a fan of that, honestly, but anyways, like it's. I feel like with comedy, I wanted to just say before I move on, is just like it's hard because comedies I feel like don't hold up the worst when you're talking about like older stuff, because part of the thing of comedies is you have to push the envelope.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you have to push the envelope of the times. You have to kind of live on that edge, and so it's so easy for people to be like, this 80s movie doesn't hold up, this comedy, this doesn't hold up and whatever. But it's like you have to look at it in the context of the time too, because some of those early James Bond movies are super racist and super sexist, but there's some good stuff in there still. Like, Sean Connery is still my favorite James Bond. Like, I'm sorry, it's just when I think of James Bond, that's
he's an Asian. Thunderball,
he's in Yellowface.
That was crazy. Like
two things can be true at once. It can be problematic and it can still have some good stuff in there. So it's like, that's how I look at Ace Ventura, because I know it's so easy to be like, it's a transphobic movie and there's stuff like that in there, but it's like, to me, that's such a small part of the movie. You know what I mean? Like 90% of it is just Jim Carrey off the wall. Like, that's why you go see that movie. Yeah. So, but I know it's like some of them dirty, like romantic American Pie, those sex comedies.
Right.
Though a lot of people can do the same thing of like, this doesn't hold up, but it's, again, I'm always going to like those first couple American Pies, because I grew up with that.
Me too. I agree.
So I can't look at it from another way, because when I watched it when I was growing up, I thought that was some of the funniest shit ever, and how they tackled sex and losing your virginity and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? But your mileage may vary on that. That's all I'm saying.
It's true. Yeah. All right, we'll get to the next story then. And
let's go.
This one is Toys R Us is coming back again. New owner plans to open up stores in North America. Toys R Us is looking to mount another comeback. The retail chain is planning to open stores in North America again under the new ownership of WHP Global, a New York-based brand management company. WHP announced Monday in a press release that it has acquired a controlling interest in True Kids, the parent company of Toys R Us, Babies R Us, and Jeffrey the Giraffe brands. Quote, "We're in the brand business, and Toys R Us is the single most credible, trusted, and beloved toy brand in the world," end quote. WHP chairman and CEO Yehuda, I can't pronounce this, Yehuda Schmidman, you gotta get different name.
Schmidman.
That's quote, "We're coming off a year where toys are just on fire, and for Toys R Us, the U.S. is really a blank canvas, end quote. So I'll tell you kind of my thoughts on this just right off the bat here, because I told you how I got that, Xbox One at launch, Toys R Us. I went there at 9 a.m. and they had them.
Oh, wow.
I just feel like I miss Toys R Us. I think that it's a market that really helped, especially for people that are in the business of what we're in here, which is like movie fans, you know what I mean, probably very nerdy, I love action figures. I have a collection of mostly Star Wars myself, so I feel like Toys R Us is it was one of my favorite stores personally, and I was really sad when they did close, because it was just such a fun place to go shop, I felt like. And it just always felt like, I mean, every day there was an adventure. I hear it's a horrible place to work, so I hope they treat their employees better upon this comeback with the new ownership and everything, because I heard that a lot of the problem with Toys R Us is they did have a hard time keeping employees, because I heard that management was treating them so badly. So I do hope that they treat their help better this time around. That said, I miss this store. I agree with this owner here that it is it's a market that needs to come back. It almost begs to come back, I feel like. And I don't think it ever should have been shut down in the first place, but sometimes you got to make unpopular decisions in business, so I get it. But anyway, what do you think?
I'm kind of split on it, honestly, because I should just put this out there. Like, I never used to go that much when I was a kid. Like, Kanye West had a line where it was something about, like, every time we'd pass the toy store, my mom would be like, close your eyelids. Like, don't. And I felt like that was kind of like my parents, like, don't even think about it. Toys R Us is expensive. Like, we're not going there. Which I don't necessarily blame them for that. But as a result, I just don't have that kind of connection for Toys R Us that like other kids have or other people have when they were kids. So, when it shut down, and I wasn't necessarily surprised, because, Amazon is just like, is Amazon. It's just a $1 billion corporation at this point, and which has made Jeff Bezos and his ex-wife very happy. But, but I don't know. It's like, when he says it's a blank slate, I guess there's no toy store, so I kind of see what he's saying anymore. But at the same time, I'm like, there's a reason there's no toy stores, and it's because of the online stuff.
It's
you know what I mean?
Though. Yeah.
And so I'm always going to be in favor of the physical things. And like, my younger brother, who's like a teenager now, a lot of like his birthdays and Christmas, I would go to Toys R Us and I would buy him stuff from there. And, that was just the go-to place for kid stuff. And so I don't want to rob people of that. I'm not mad that they're opening back up, but I'm not going to be honest. I don't see it lasting that long, honestly, just as a pure business like outlook on it. But maybe it will come back. We're in such a weird time of the pandemic, and people are just speculating about maybe there's going to be a baby boom after this with just people being apart for so long. Maybe there's going to be a resurgence of people going to stores now. It's so unpredictable, the market right now. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy to see it. I'm happy for kids to be able to go into those type of stores again. Cause like I did that when I was a kid, and others type of stores, not necessarily Toys R Us. So I'm not mad at it, but definitely worried. I don't know. Physical toy stores and stuff like that are definitely it's not how it used to be.
Yeah, it's true. I just feel like the one thing that they have in their favor is the fact that like Toys R Us is a household name. You know what I mean? Like it's just like people. I think that the fact that they were gone for so long and now they're going to come back, they're going to start out doing real hot numbers. I can tell you right now. I think at the beginning they're going to really start out doing really well. Let's just hope that they can find a way to keep, reinventing and keeping it alive.
I feel like if they adjust to like the online thing, I know a lot of stores are doing kind of the, online pickup and, shipping stuff to people. I feel like if they adjust to that would be smart.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do kind of a model like that. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I hope so. I guess I get kind of what you're saying, and there are a lot of things on the business end that you definitely have to look into before, just saying like, oh yeah, this is gonna work for sure. But I
don't know any other toy stores open right now. All of them closed down in my town, so it's sad, but I mean that's just the reality.
Yeah. I don't know. I say try it out, see what happens. You know, maybe go out of business again, but it's worth the shot. I think. You know, at the very least.
I don't want to rob a kid of that experience though, so I'm happy
not.
that a kid will hopefully get to experience that. So
and me again, I'm going back. Trust me.
And all the big kids too.
Exactly.
You're a big kid now.
You have no idea. All right. So next story. Michael Keaton addresses his potential Batman return in the Flash movie. All right. So here we go. I got to read these quotes without laughing. This is gonna be
please.
Funny. All right. Michael Keaton says, "We'll see what happens," about returning as Batman opposite Justice League's Ezra Miller in The Flash. In June, Keaton entered into talks to reprise his Caped Crusader role in the Flash movie before director Andy Muschietti said Keaton's Batman returns with a substantial role to play alongside the Ben Affleck Batman of the DC Extended Universe. See, this is part of why I think it's funny, is because Muschietti's already said he's coming back with a substantial role. But anyway, listen to this. Anyway, alongside the Ben Affleck of the DC Extended Universe. Okay, here we go. Should the star of Tim Burton's Batman cross through the DC multiverse to don the cape and cowl of the Dark Knight a third time, 30 years after 1992's Batman Returns, the plan is for Keaton to play a mentor-type role to younger heroes and appear in multiple movies. That's interesting. All right, so here's Michael Keaton. I'm needing a minute to talk about this because I'm so fortunate and blessed. I got so much going on right now. I'm really into work right now. I don't know why, but I am. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, to tell you the truth, somewhere on my iPad is an iteration of the whole Flash thing that I haven't had time yet. I called them and said, I have to be honest with you. I can't look at anything right now. Keaton told Deadline. And then he says, I'm so deep into this thing. I'm doing the Hulu series Dope Sick. Looking forward to that, by the way. Doing the Hulu series Dope Sick. Also, I'm prepping a thing. I'm producing and getting ready to go down to the road in the fall that I'll be in. And I feel responsible to. He's such a bullshitter. Keaton added. So yeah, there's that. I'm not being cute or coy. If I talked about Batman, I'll just be bullshitting you. I don't really know. I had to look at the last draft. And then here we go. But the thing that worries the 69-year-old Keaton more than anything is the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm more concerned. I keep my eye on the COVID situation in the UK. I keep the eye on the COVID situation in the UK more than anything, said Keaton, referring to plans for The Flash to film in April at Warner Brothers Studio. Levison said, Warner Brothers Studio. I don't even know what that word is. Sorry. That will determine. That will determine everything. So, this is Keaton saying this. I got you. That will determine everything, and that's why I'm living outside here on 17 acres, staying away from everybody, because the COVID thing has got me really concerned. So that's my first thing about all projects. I look at it and go, is this going to kill me? Literally? And if it doesn't, then we'll talk. And then on coming back as Batman, Keaton added, I'm going to see what happens here. This is going to be kind of fun. We'll see what happens. I think it's kind of a drag we're talking about it. And I'm like, do you really know what the hell you're talking about? I mean, I could be bullshitting you, but once I go, I don't know. Are we going to do this or not? They say, yeah, we're doing it. Then I go, okay, now I'm going to overthink it. But until then, I don't want to think about it.
Wow.
As for his wait-and-see approach to his Batman return, Keaton said, you want to say like Joe Pesci from My Cousin Vinny and it's a thing, but it's not a thing? What? Oh, man. The Flash is scheduled for release on November 4th, 2022. All right, that's the Michael Keaton statements. I don't know.
Wow.
What do you think? This is like world-class bullshitting right here. Like,
yeah,
he is just spatting shit out of the tip of his tongue. Like it's like it was like,
yeah, effortless. I wonder if they was he prepared for this interview, or he was just, this seems like a lot of off the cuff, just like I mean, just trying to come up with something on the spot or something.
I think that they told him, in my opinion, they probably told him, just approach every interview like Michael Keaton. Just do it in the Michael Keaton way, where you're just gonna throw
Right.
everybody off. And I think that he's the man that's crazy enough to bullshit people. But I read this and laughed. I mean, do you think that there's a chance at this point that he's not? I mean, Muschietti's already said he's coming back, and like they say that it seems like they're breaking the story here, that there is a plan for him to not just pop up in Flash, but multiple DCEU films.
Yeah.
How you kind of feeling about that?
I don't know. I remember there was a thing too where like he was gonna have his own Batman movie. Remember that whole rumor was going around, and I just was like, I don't know about that. But like him cameoing and stuff though, and like I mean, I'm not gonna argue. Like I love Michael Keaton as Batman. Like that's the one I grew up with. Like he's my Batman I grew up with, and well as the Schumacher ones that we don't talk about anymore. But but Keaton one was the first ones that I grew up with, and you know, I'm never gonna say no to seeing him, you know, rock the cowl again, and I like Muschietti as a director. Like the only complaint I have with him in some of his movies that he relies on CGI a little bit too much for my taste. And so I hope that he doesn't. I mean, I guess it's kind of unavoidable. It's with Flash because he is kind of a CGI type character. You need to do that, but yeah, that's the only thing that's really bothered me. Other than that, I think he gets tone. I think he gets characters, like what he did with the It movies. I mean, like those movies wouldn't have been successful if it wasn't for you know, someone with like him and his wife who like produces on those movies, kind of putting the reins on that just humongous story and like and reining that in, kind of that insane Stephen King story. I have faith that he could do that with the Flash, and like I think Keaton will probably be involved. I mean, it sounds like he's just was grasping for.
Oh, for sure.
He was just all over the place, man. It's like, I mean, and he was in Chicago 7 for a little bit, and
that's right.
Like, you know what I mean, and he was one of the best parts for me of that movie.
Yeah, he was great.
Like,
he was great.
When I hear Keaton could be involved in it, I mean, I'm just like, let's go for it. Even like, I remember there was like Batman Beyond rumors, like he could be just like passing off Batman to like someone else. And like, I love Batman Beyond too when I was a kid. So I'm totally down for that too. Like anything they want to do with Michael Keaton, I am on board for. I think he's a great actor. I support him in like all the projects he's in. I just, I love Keaton as an actor and what he brings to roles. So what do you think though?
Oh no, I mean, I didn't even know that this was something that we were trying to debunk anymore. So it's just kind of interesting to me that he's still like going with the misdirect on it because Muschietti.
I think maybe he can't like officially announce it or something. Maybe it's like they told him not to officially announce anything.
Right, he's probably just you know what it is. They probably don't want him to say anything because they're afraid he'll slip details. So they're just like just
some Tom Holland shit.
Right. But the other thing for me is like. I had a really good point to make here, and I just lost my train of thought.
Oh no!
For me, it was no. I'll start with this. Like, I definitely am with you. Like, I really like Andy Muschietti as a filmmaker. I think that the first time I saw It Chapter 2, wasn't a big fan, but then like when I went back and saw it again, I really liked it. So it made for a better home watch for sure. Than
the first one is definitely better than the second, I think. But
yeah, it's still the better of the two, but the second, I think that a lot of that is due to the fact that the second half of that story isn't great on its own.
Right. So that's what I was trying to tell people too. It's impossible kind of to adapt that second half, man. It's hard.
So when I rewatched it, I kind of watched it and was like, I think this is probably the best possible outcome for a movie for this like second half. I mean, I think he adapted it straightforward as much as he could, and I think that he did a good job with that. And I feel like, with the Flash, like if he's a fan of this property, I want to see him do this. And then I think that he's really good at adapting things, that's for sure. So he'll definitely be taking a lot from the comic books, and obviously probably putting his own spin on it. The fact that this Bruce Wayne's or Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne is going to be coming in to be kind of a mentor to him and a lot of the other DC characters. It's going to be really, really interesting, and I almost wonder if that's going to be something that comes from the multiverse, it's gonna have to, right? Or
Right, exactly.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
It's gonna have to come from some sort of multiverse, and that's the way that you're gonna bring him into it. And I think that's gonna be. I think that Keaton can really like make a lot of jokes about this too, like within the film, and like it'd be really funny to get his reaction to the fact that there's like aliens in this universe, from space. Like, I think
it's a lot. Yeah,
I think it's gonna
a
be
lot
fun.
different.
Yeah, so I'm excited, man. I think that there's a lot of fun to be had here with this story. And like you were saying with Muschietti with tone, I like his style of comedy. I don't think it's overblown. I think that he knows like right where to hit it. So I think that it works for me. So I think that'll be really good. And I hope that him and Ezra Miller, found something that they were both happy with most of all, because like, that was one of the big things is like from what I understand, a lot of directors left this project because they couldn't get along with Ezra Miller and couldn't write something that he liked. Why this kid has so much power over there, I don't know, but it baffles me. But I mean, on the same hand, like, I mean, I do hope that, Muschietti, wrote something that they were able to both be extremely satisfied with. And I'm gonna watch it and probably enjoy it. I think it'll be fun, and I think Michael Keaton is for sure a world-class bullshitter here, so I don't think that there's any doubt there's no doubt in my mind he's bullshitting. But the one thing I'll say about this that confuses me is the fact that like Ben Affleck is also supposed to appear in this film, so I don't know if he's going to be there for them to reset things, you know what I mean? Like, because like they could probably do, I don't know how much you know about the Flashpoint paradox, but I would imagine they're going to go for one of those and then like Flash kind of reverse time or reset the timeline and all that, and it's all going to be kind of a one big mess by the end of it, but in a good way. I hope I hope it's executed well to where we're sold on the fact like this Bruce Wayne's going to be the Bruce Wayne that we're going to see for the rest of the time. It's not Ben Affleck anymore, you know what I mean? So I think that's why they're bringing in Affleck for one more ride on this and one last rodeo. One last ride. As Dom
Toretto would say.
Every movie, it's always one last ride, and every
one last ride.
Every time it's one last ride. He doesn't know what's going on. Did you remember that interview that came out like last year?
8 movies later, one last ride. Like, come on, man.
He did that interview last year where it's like, where I can't remember what the first thing to get pushed was last year, but like Vin Diesel did like an interview right after that, and they were asking about the fact that Fast 9 might get pushed, because this pandemic's coming. He's like, nah, ain't nobody gonna mess with this movie. It's gonna stay. And then like the next day, it got pushed all the way it got pushed a year like the next day.
Oh my god, dude!
COVID-19.
That was another BS move.
That's who
right
defeats
there.
Dom Toretto. It's COVID-19, man.
That's the villain of the new F9 movie. It's COVID.
He was like, nah, nobody's gonna move our movie. And then like,
I feel like as a person, he has to be like that, though. You know what I mean? It wouldn't.
Yeah.
Anything else, he's like, he can't submit to COVID. What's that? But yeah, definitely. I don't even know. Is it coming out this year? Has there been any announcement about that one?
It is coming this year. It's coming
this year.
Slowly but surely, we are finally going to see it.
I was going to ask, do you remember the part in Neighbors when Zac Efron and Seth Rogen are doing the Batman impressions?
Oh, I love
That's like
that.
One of my favorites.
I love that because he's like,
who was your Batman when you were growing up?
Right, that was one
like,
of the best scenes.
Christian Bale. He's like, no, mine's Michael Keaton, man. He's like, he kind of just whispered his lines like, I'm Batman.
Oh,
and then Zac Efron's like, woo.
I was talking about the scene with Sammy at one point not that long ago, but yeah, we were talking about like the fact that, and then he calls the cops on him. He comes up to the door and he's like, "Hey, I'm Batman," and Efron's just pissed. He's like, "No, we're not doing that no more, bro." No, he goes, "No, we're done with that, bro."
Done with that, bro. Oh my god,
love that movie. That's a good comedy.
That's a great movie. And then when they do the De Niro impressions too,
yeah,
that was good. Yeah. That was solid too. He was like, "What are you doing, Faka?" He's like, "What's his Franco?" Dave Franco.
Dave Franco. He's like, "What are you doing there, Faka?"
You seen my cat Jinxie?
I love the guy that comes up with as Sam Jackson from Jackie Brown, and then he starts doing the Pulp Fiction line, and then Seth Rogen's just like, "That is the wrong Sam Jackson speech."
He was like, "Your continuity is all over the place." Like,
I say my name is the Lord. I love that scene.
I like the sequel too, man. I think it's an underrated
comedy
franchise.
I agree. I really like the sequel. I'd like to see a Neighbors 3. If that gets announced, I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm gonna love it.
Just bring Rose Byrne back, Seth Rogen back. That's all you need, and just put them in a new neighborhood. That's it.
I want Chloe Moretz and Efron butt back for that.
Oh yeah, Efron too. Efron is like, oh man.
Well, Efron's like a staple member of that crew. Like you need him in there now.
Yeah,
you need him. He's really coming to his own in terms of like his comedic stylings, you know, because when Efron started doing comedies, I gained like a new respect for him. I was like, he's really funny. He is a funny actor.
Why doesn't he do more like that? I feel like he's so good at them now.
Yeah, every time he does something serious, he gets shit on. So it's like, just do the comedies, man. Just you're good at it, and you probably have a lot of fun doing them, honestly.
And just have Seth Rogen write it, or like, you know what I mean, Judd Apatow, one of those guys, just write a good script, and you just be a part in it.
Yeah.
That's how those movies get made, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I think Baywatch is what killed his comedy love, because like Baywatch.
Oh
yeah,
terrible.
that was.
Oh
awful.
my god, dude! I saw that in the theater, bro, and I was like, God, this is just. There was no one laughing no laughter heard in the whole theater.
Awful. I don't know how you fucked that up. Yeah, Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron.
I thought it was gonna be an easy layup, dude. I'm like, oh, I love The Rock. I love Zac Efron in comedy, and it just
You know what the problem was? Is they tried to make it a Baywatch movie instead of what it should have been, which was a spoof on Baywatch. It
like an update.
Spoof.
Yeah, like a spoof. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like they should have recognized like Baywatch is a bad thing. Like you should make fun of that and like, but while being that, you know what I mean? It's like
I remember I was at a party once, and this is hilarious. It was like a Packer party, and we were in the playoffs, and we lost, and so everyone was like depressed afterwards. You know what I mean? Because we're out of this whole season. Their season's done, and then like someone thought it would be. I think the host decided it'd be a good idea to put on Baywatch because they're like, let's lighten up the mood type shit. And I'm like, bro, I'm already depressed. You're really gonna put on Baywatch right now? And he's like, what? I didn't think it was that bad. I'm like, dude, it's that bad. Like, please put on anything else. I beg you. Like, no.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It really
I love The Rock as much as anybody, probably more than anybody, but like, no.
Yeah, that
wasn't it. That wasn't a good look.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful, man. I agree. I didn't like that one.
So bad.
Yeah.
At least I had Movie Pass that year, so
that's
got it for the free.
For sure. All right, let's move on to the next thing.
Next topic.
All right, Snyder Cut director Zack Snyder has titles for Justice League 2 and 3. Snyder Cut director Zack Snyder has multiple titles in mind for the 2 Justice League sequels he planned as the finale to the 5-movie Snyderverse saga. Ahead of the release of Zack Snyder's Justice League, the 4-hour director's cut restoring the visionary filmmaker's previously unfinished version of the superhero ensemble, Snyder revealed his plans for Justice League 2 and Justice League 3, plotted as a 2-movie epic uniting the League, in quotes, the League, the world, and the entire DC universe against the forces of Darkseid, Ray Porter, in a Lord of the Rings-like finale. I'll go down in my books. I probably wrote down I do this for all movies. Probably like a page of titles that I tried, Snyder told MTV News. But yeah, it probably wasn't going to be Justice League 2 and 3, that I can tell you. If the same fans who demanded Warner Media release the Snyder Cut are successful in their calls to #restore the Snyderverse with sequels to Zack Snyder's Justice League, will the filmmaker return to the so-called Snyderverse? All right, what do we got here? I don't think... Okay, so my take on this has been kind of changing a little bit. I've kind of amended my take on this, and this is kind of what I was telling Sammy when we kind of talked about it the last time. I don't even think it was on a show. I just think it was in general conversation. But I think my take on this is he's probably not going to come back, and that is because I think that he is completely... I just think he's had it. You know what I mean? I think that the Warner Brothers thing, I wouldn't want to if I was him. And the more I think about it, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. But I think it will be, again, an error if they don't take some of these ideas and pan them forward in other stories and other movies and just use some of it. Because I think that the fact that the Snyder Cut has now come out, I think people want to look at this and say, this is my definitive edition of this, and they want it to somehow fit into the DCEU. So I think that you just kind of give them answers to some of the things that were left open, close them up as quickly as you can, and then move on to whatever you were going to do. I just think it's the smartest way to go. I just think, and it doesn't need to be Snyder movies, just make the stories work in your future films, because I think that is going to be the best way to please everybody, is just, which again, don't like just cater to everybody, like don't spoon feed everybody, because we saw what happened with that in the Rise of Skywalker movie. Don't just spoon feed everybody, but on the same hand, like I think the best way to do it is just to give people some answers, let them see some of these storylines come to pass, and then once you get them done quickly, just move on. You know what I mean? I don't think it needs to be in Snyder's movies in particular, but I think you should use some of the ideas just to kind of play them out, even if you do them in a little bit more of a quicker fashion. I just think that there's a lot left open for Snyder fans out there, and I think that you know, you just want to make them happy in some way, you know, because I think that and myself, I know I might be biased because I am a Snyder fan and I really liked what he set up, but that's okay. I just think that even if it's not Snyder doing it, just, you know, acknowledge the fact that the Snyder Cut exists, you know, make sure that it's acknowledged moving forward. You know what I mean? I think that that's probably one of the more important things to do, but, you know, also give me a universe that's extremely well fleshed out, you know, and like, don't let it fuck up any future plans necessarily. Just kind of make sure that your future movies do acknowledge the fact that this is the thing, you know, this is the definitive version, because I haven't talked to anybody who's like that theatrical cut better, and I haven't not heard anybody say, yeah, the theatrical cut is amazing compared to that. And nobody has that attitude on it either, so it's like, come on.
Well, I could tell you one person that has attitude is my co-host Edwin on Saturday Matinee.
You did tell me that.
Yeah, he likes the theatrical better, and you know, as much as we kind of like disagree just a little bit, like I thought the new one was better, at least you know, you really liked it, and I get that. A lot of that's been the main reaction is people really loving it. So I don't want to take that away from anybody, but yeah, that was one person I know that he liked the Whedon cut better. Enough. So it's crazy. I don't know. I didn't get it.
I've heard say it too. So
yeah, I didn't get it, and I kind of was defending the Snyder cut in all honesty, just because it's just like I don't see how you could think that some of these scenes in terms of the forced humor in it,
well, that's
and just
the thing. It's like
the mustache stuff. I don't see how you could you know, defend some of that stuff. But I mean, he has every right. You know what I mean? He always surprises me with his takes. So it's, you know what I mean? There are probably more people out there that prefer that style more too. So I mean, maybe, I guess
style, but like you cannot deny the story points in there are better. I mean, even the people I've heard that say that this movie's so, majority of them are still saying it's better than the Whedon cut.
Yeah,
so
I'm one of them. Right,
exactly.
I still prefer this one better. And I mean, just on a basic storytelling level, they explain reasons for people's actions, you know what I mean, which is like something we just did not get in the Whedon cut. So in terms of like Snyder coming back or whatever, I do think he's done, just like I mean, we kind of talked about it last time too, just off of what he said, what Warner Brothers, the statements they've been putting out, they've announced they're not doing the Ayer cut like people have, you know, wanted. I know, I think we're going to get into that soon. They're not, you know, they've announced that they're moving forward with new directors and new stories and stuff like that, you know. Which is, I mean, like, I don't know, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's like, you know, the Snyder stuff hasn't worked out for WB in the past. I know they have like new leadership now, but I still think they just want to kind of put this stuff behind them. I think the Snyder cut was kind of a bridge between people that were clinging on to the Snyder stuff and, you know, giving them that last bit of, you know what I mean, we did kind of acknowledging they messed up and here's our apology for that. But yeah, I do think Snyder is done. I do think the Snyderverse is not going to happen. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's I'm pretty confident saying that. So yeah, I think we're in agreement there. And I mean, you can't blame Snyder for feeling that way.
No.
After they screwed him
Yeah.
in this movie, and you compare the two, and you see just how much they cut out of his original vision. I told you last time I'm not a fan of his previous films necessarily.
Right.
I did like the Ultimate Cut. The best out of all the stuff he's done, and but I mean, I'm not gonna the stories that he was trying to get into, like that whole where Superman's the villain, and it's like the kind of like the Flash and Batman and everything having to stop Superman. Like, I mean, that's the type of like crazy weird shit that I would want to see, honestly. Like, and that might be why BVS is like my favorite one. It's just because always love seeing characters that shouldn't be fighting each other, like fighting each other. Like, that's just, I think that's always a good concept to me, because Superman's never been my favorite, but just having like him pit up against Batman, and I thought that was like, that was a cool concept, and that's from the comics. That's straight from the comics. Right. So. But we'll see. Warner Brothers wants to turn that corner. Snyder, I feel like at this point, wants to turn the corner and move on, and so I don't blame either of them for feeling that way.
Right.
Personally.
I just think that, again, I'm telling you, just address it. Make sure your universe acknowledges, because to me that'd be like the biggest fuck you ever, is like if they don't even acknowledge the fact that that's something that took place. So,
well, haven't they already said that the original Justice League is canon and the Snyder one is not canon?
I think they said the other way around, actually. I think that they said that Snyder's is going to be the definitive one, which to me, it's
I don't know. I heard it. I heard some people on Twitter were like kind of mad about that because Warner Brothers had said the original was canon and the Snyder one was kind of just this is what could have been type of thing. Yeah. I don't know. Like, that's just what I saw on Twitter. So I can't like really verify that.
I actually thought it was the other way around, but I'll have to look into it again at some. We'll talk about it another time. But I think it's kind of one of these things too. It's like, we got to wait and see. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think we got to wait and see. We'll hear reports. I think, and I think the next few months are going to be very telling about what they're going to plan to do with it again.
Well, doesn't like Star Wars change their canon all the time too? Like, you know what I mean? It's not
just once.
No,
just once. I mean, when Disney bought it, they did. But people are going to be so mad at me because they love the Legends material that's now considered Legends, not canon. But like, the fact is like a lot of their Legends material stepped on each other in massive ways. So it's like there was no way to keep it straight. So Disney had to do something, so they were like, we're gonna wipe all that. We're just gonna be called Legends.
Is that like the books? Like the books?
No.
Legends or no? What's Legends?
A lot of them. So Legends was like, okay, so like anything that's been released, I think it was 2015 or 14. Anything that's been released, book, comic, movie, TV show, anything that's been released from 2014 since is considered canon. Anything that was released before 2014 was not canon, and like except for
the movies,
for the movies and the Clone Wars TV show. So other than that, everything else was just wiped, and they're calling that Legends now. So still,
but I bet you there was a bunch of Legends people that were upset, though. You know what I mean? Same kind of concept where they were upset about them saying that this isn't canon anymore.
Right. And I mean, I was talking to you about Knights of the Old Republic earlier. One of the best Star Wars stories of all time, but it can't be canon because so much of their canon stuff is just stepped on itself. You know what I mean? It's like, so you need to, or so much of their Legends, not canon, I'm sorry, their Legends stuff, it's stepped on itself in like massive ways. I mean, people bitch because sometimes the new canon does it, but they do it in very minor tweaky type ways to where you can still make it work if it does step on the other thing, It's very minor what it does. And like the old canon, if you read Legends, there's so many things that overlapped with other things that just didn't make sense and didn't really work, so you had to do something. I get it, you know what I mean? So I think that the way that Star Wars has handled it, they've actually done a really good job. I know some people disagree with me. I really like a lot of the new books that they've come out with since 2014, and I like that it's all one big canon. And you can say what you will about the sequel trilogy, but I think that stuff's being fixed too with Mandalorian. I think that they're going to try to enhance that trilogy. They're not going to try to wipe it. They like what.
I'm not a fan of the sequel trilogy, honestly, but
I think the first two are
Mandalorian's good.
Yeah, I think Force Awakens, The Last Jedi are amazing, but Rise of Skywalker, it's rough. It's rough. I like it. It's rough though.
I'll agree with you. I like Force Awakens the best. Not a fan of kind of the other two, but Mandalorian, I'm fully on board
Oh,
for
it's amazing.
shit like
It's
that.
the best
Yeah.
thing they've released. I'll agree with you there. Yeah.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited about what they're bringing with that. So
Yeah.
they bring more stuff like that, expand the universe like that. I'm gonna watch it. So
Yeah, and Mandalorian is pulling from some of the canon that they've done.
right.
Like it's
Yeah, I've
starting
heard
to
of
pay
that. I've
off
heard
now.
about
You know
that
what I mean? Like, what was the one
with
character?
Ahsoka and
Well, Ahsoka's a big thing, yeah, and then the
yeah.
character. Oh God, what's his name? Cobb Vanth, for the one that was in the Boba Fett armor when we first met him. Like, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I remember him popping
Timothy
up.
Oliphant.
Timothy Oliphant's character. When he
Yeah.
popped up on screen, I was like, when he saw him in the Boba Fett armor, I was like, that better be Cobb Vanth, because in the Aftermath novels around this time, Cobb Vanth is the one who has Boba Fett's armor, and they pulled it and they did it. And it's like, yes, we're finally feeling rewarded from these books that we've been reading and all this other stuff. It feels good. So, so it's starting to really work. So, two more stories left. We'll go ahead and get to the next one here. All right, so we have, is PS5 adding PS3, PS2, and PS1 backward compatibility? Just to preface this, they obviously already have PS4 backward compatibility. So, new Sony patent has PlayStation fans speculating. What? Here we go. This is the article says, wait, is Sony getting ready to surprise PlayStation players by expanding PS5 backward compatibility support to include PS3, PS2, and PS1 games? Well, a new Sony patent has ignited this exact speculation. On March 18th, a new patent from Sony was published titled Method and Apparatus for Awarding Trophies. That's a tongue twister. This is why I have Sammy read this news, because I suck at it.
No, you're doing great, man. You're doing great.
Thank you. Appreciate it. On the surface level, this patent isn't very interesting, but it's about awarding trophies for emulated games, and the only games Sony would be emulating in 2021 would be legacy games like those on PS3, PS2, and PS1. Of course, the patent makes no sense of the PS5. Makes no mention of the PS5 backward compatibility support. The aforementioned legacy consoles or anything too juicy, but it does mention emulation quite a bit. Beyond this, it's brimming with technical jargon. A computer-implemented method assigns one or more trophies to a user. A game is emulated in response to a request from a client device. Reads an abstract of the patent. Fuck it. Okay, so what do we think of this? Do we think that's this is a smart move if they do that, if they end up doing this, or do you think that? I mean, I asked the question, why wasn't this just a feature from launch? Like, I think at this point, it's smarter to just start releasing these consoles with backwards compatibility. Even Xbox itself has not fully got on board with the backward compatibility. Yeah. And it makes no sense to me. I don't understand, like, why wouldn't you be doing this at this point? It's weird to me, like, that people cannot pop in their old classic games and play them. It's like, why don't your drives support that? I don't know, but what do you got?
I mean, I don't know. I feel I'm not getting too invested in the story, even though like we're just talking about it for like 30 minutes about PlayStation and Xbox and stuff like that. Like they've been saying this forever. You know what I mean? Like I think the last like PlayStation 3 had backwards compatibility, and that was the last console. PlayStation 4 did not, and it was only the original PS3 ones too, because after a while they stopped doing that. And so with the PS5, I've heard it rumored a bunch. I haven't seen anything like confirmed about it.
Yeah.
So I'm not holding my breath. You know what I mean, about this stuff. And because, I mean, just personally, I've bought a lot of the remaster stuff that they offer on the PlayStation Store, and I've been having fun with that stuff. Like, for example, the Devil May Cry series. I just bought all of those.
Yeah.
The Resident Evil series, I bought a bunch of those early ones, and I had those on PS2. So I feel like, they're doing a lot of that, like remastering and stuff like that, rather than doing backwards compatibility. That was just like my feeling. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know, like I didn't see anything that PlayStation announced. This is kind of just like more of a rumor, I guess. But like I said, I'm not holding my breath on it. I would hope that they do it. I do have a bunch of PS2 games still, and so I mean, I would love to like pop in Guitar Hero and my PS5 and just yeah, of course, just go start playing that and stuff like that. And but we'll see. Like I've been buying a lot of these like older games on their PlayStation Store just to have them. But like, yeah, this is something that's been around, like rumored so much, and I put so much like investment into this of wanting this to happen that at this point I'm just like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I mean, I'm not surprised if it doesn't happen. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, one of the best investments that I made last year was getting another PS2. I hadn't owned one in the longest time, and I went ahead and bought one for myself last year. And I love the PS2 console. I think that some of the best games from the Golden Age were released.
Yeah,
on the
hands
PS2.
down, so good.
And it was like that's like it was one of my favorite eras of gaming is the PS2 original Xbox era. And
the library was insane for PS2, man. So insane.
My problem is overall, I feel like if the content that was being released nowadays was just as good as what they used to release, I'm not talking the graphics and things like that. I'm talking the stories, the quantity of how many like story-based games we were getting. I miss games that were based off movies. Oh my god, I went back and replayed Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers again. I think it's one of the best games of all time.
Dude, that game was good. I remember that for PS2. Yeah,
where
I
is
had
this
that
type of content? We're not getting it. We're getting like they've made Middle Earth games that's like they add to the canon. You know what I mean?
I heard the Avengers game was trash.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're doing it, but it's not. They used to put a lot of care into those movie games. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and like they're just not hitting the mark anymore. They're trying to like I'm all for like original storytelling and things like that too. Like if you want to make original, storytelling games, that's great too. Like another great example here, it's original storytelling game. I mean, we were kind of talking about the Star Wars stuff, like Jedi Academy is what it's called. Is like it's still one of the best Star Wars games of all time, not just because of its story, but there was something about the mechanics too of like wielding a lightsaber in that game. Like I love the new Jedi Fallen Order, but the mechanics were not as good as they were when it comes down to wielding a lightsaber in Jedi Academy. I replayed that one recently too, and it still feels just as good to wield that lightsaber now. So it's like
what was the like Phantom Menace game, dude, that they had?
That one was awesome too, man.
That game was awesome. That's like damn near better than the movie.
Yeah,
it's better than the movie. The game.
I bought the Revenge of the Sith. I agree, and I bought the Revenge of the Sith game. That is amazing, man. It's like, where is this type of stuff? Like, why is this stuff not coming out anymore?
The Battlefront games for PS2, like those games were so sick.
Yeah, I mean, not only just Star Wars games, like we mentioned Lord of the Rings, or just whatever, just like make these games again. And like it just bothers me that the fact that they're not going to make content that holds up like with those games, you know what I mean? That the fact that we can't just go back and play them on the console that we just spent $400-$500 on, that bothers me, you know what I mean? So it really it strikes a real chord with me, and I really do hope that these consoles start to just utilize this tactic of backward compatibility.
It's tough for me too, because it is like a push and pull where it's like, I buy a lot of the remasters of them because they look better.
Oh, sure.
And they, you know what I mean? And they kind of update the graphics, stuff like that.
But they're not remastering everything.
But they're not, exactly.
Right,
so like I do have a bunch of PS2 games still that like, I think my PS2 is broken at this point. So I can't play them, and I just have them sitting here. And I would like to play them, and you're paying $500 for a PS5 at this point. It's like, I mean, there's so many games that, like I said, PS2 has like such a large library, a large catalog of so many great games that are just not being taken advantage of from Sony. That I know people would like to play for my generation and would like to go and play, you know what I mean? Like a lot of those early WWE games I don't have anymore, but I'm like, dude, if they if they had them, I would love to play those. Like Here Comes the Pain or SmackDown versus Raw. Like I remember those games were so fun.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hope they make it backwards compatible. I mean, that's the best case scenario for me.
Remake Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers right now, like remaster, and I guarantee it'll make big bucks. Like it just makes no sense to me. That's all I'm trying to get at. It makes no sense to me why this.
I'm loving these Resident Evil remasters they've been making.
I hear they're great. I haven't played them yet. And
oh
not
my
because
God.
I have an Xbox, is I can get them on Xbox. Luckily, that's one thing I can get. I still need to grab that. So
I
really
played 1 and 2. 1 and 2, I can attest they're fantastic. 3, haven't played it yet. I'm dying to play it. But those first 2, they're just like that's what a remaster should be for sure.
Yeah, I think that they should just keep trying to bank on these things. And I get it, there's licensing things that we don't understand and we don't really deal with, but it's still to me it bothers me the fact that you can't at least make it backward compatible. Like, I think that's easy. That should be easier than they're making it out to be. I think that's
I even have like some PlayStation 1 games do like Crash Bandicoot and stuff like that. It's like, you know, I'd like to play that. Like, I know they have like a kind of an updated one like you can buy too for that.
Crash is updated. I got the remaster. It's great. That's one of the better remasters for sure. Okay. So recommend that.
But still, it's like you got all these games sitting around, man. Like, why not cater to those OG fans?
100%, man. I agree 100%. All right, last story. Let's get to this.
All right,
Suicide Squad director responds to Warner Media's, of course he did, Warner Media's decision not to develop the Ayer cut. All right, so here we go. Even though Zack Snyder's Justice League has become a hit with fans, Warner Brothers has no intention of doing something similar to David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Yeah, that's what they say. Shortly after HBO Max greenlit Snyder's unadulterated 4-hour cut of Justice League, Ayer made it known the version of Suicide Squad that hit theaters was far from his ultimate version, with his comments quickly spawning a hashtag release the Ayer cut movement. I haven't really seen as much of that as I was for Snyder's, but okay. Now that those hopes has seemed dashed, Ayer has offered a response to his own to the news. Why? The filmmaker tweeted Monday afternoon with a teary-eyed emoji. Oh man, why with the teary eye? It's let's see. It even shows the tweet here where he said it. Let's see. So even though Leto returned to film a new scene alongside Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne for Zack Snyder's Justice League, the actor hopes eventually to see his cut Suicide Squad scenes come to life in the Ayer cuts. All right, so I'll go ahead and start here. I mean, do I want to see this? Of course I want to see this. I want to see like how much different it was. I think that like whether or not you like the Snyder cut, you cannot deny it was a cool kind of experiment, you know, to at least see it and see, because there's so many differences. I think that's actually like a cool thing to discover. So regardless, I think if you like the Snyder cut, didn't like it, you cannot deny being able to see that is a cool thing. You know what I mean? And I think that if this is like, if it's doing well, I'm kind of with Ayer here, where it's like, why not? You know, I mean, I get that there's extra money that needs to be put into it. I understand that 100%, but if it's working, then do it. You know, I think that the people would. Okay, I think that Zack Snyder is more of a household name, so I think people definitely flock to something like that a little bit easier. But I still think that there's still an audience for an Ayer cut, and then you do it, it doesn't work, then you never do it again. You know what I mean? But like I think that, you know, he got kind of screwed as well. It wasn't as tragic as like say a Zack Snyder story, you know what I mean? But he did get kind of screwed in the fact that they had an MTV music video company come and recut his movie. You know, it's like, so
exactly.
I'm kind of with it. Like, why not? And I get that the difference is that Suicide Squad actually did make money. I get that when it was in the theater, like it actually did make money, and they're looking at it as a win. But I just feel like we're in a time and place where with streaming services being out there, you can take advantage of them to start putting out new cuts of movies. I think that's okay. And I think that audiences are kind of wanting to see it, you know? I think, why not do the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad? He's a very talented filmmaker. If you go back and watch Fury and End of Watch, like those movies are really wonderful. And Suicide Squad did not compute with those two films, and that really upsets me. And I wanted to see something. I want to see what he did, honestly. I think he is a really talented filmmaker, and I really want to see what his cut would have looked like. And the other part of it is, like, I think that, you know, I don't know. I know that they say that they're not going to do it, but I think give it some time. You know, they might come around on it, because I think that with, like, I see Disney, honestly, putting out a new cut of Rise of Skywalker any day here, or announcing one, you know. I really do. Even though the film made money, I think that a lot of studios are going to start looking at the Snyder cut, and they're going to be like, it was a cool experiment, and it worked for them. You know, they got new subscribers. People are watching it a lot. It's working for them. So let's try this. Why not? You know, that's what I say. Why the hell not? Just try it out. See what happens. What do you got?
Yeah. You're more optimistic than me as far as like, just like with the new cuts and stuff like that. I feel like Snyder cut is just an anomaly. and it's not going to happen again. Whether it's with Rise of Skywalker or David Ayer. I mean, like my co-host Edwin, we get into it sometimes because he absolutely hates David Ayer and Antoine Fuqua, who did
like
Training Day. He says that they haven't made a good movie since Training Day, and I just can't agree with that, honestly. So the two that you said, Fury and End of Watch, are my favorite post Training Day movies that he did. So
they're awesome.
But at the same time, you know, he made a good point. I will give him that he said, like, you know, the ones he did after Suicide Squad have been really terrible. Like,
no, they have been bad. I agree with
Tax Collector and Bright were just not good.
I agree with you.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then, you know, people were saying too, like the guy who did Fan Four Stick, Josh Trank. You know what I mean? He did Fan Four Stick, which is not good. He also said that there was studio interference, and but you know, you look at his film after that too, the Capone one, and that one was terrible as well. So it's like,
so you're smelling bullshit. Is that what you're getting at?
It's just I thought that was a good point, even though I'm not as harsh on them. Where it's like, you know, it's so easy to say, you know, the studio interfered with my vision, and you know, with the Ayer thing, yes, the editing probably the editing did butcher like his. You know, probably it did change what he wanted ultimately, but at the same time, I don't think there's any saving that film as it was. I have like the ultimate, like or not the ultimate, but like the unrated
that one too,
which is like just 2 extra minutes, so you can't even notice like anything that's different.
I think it's actually like 20, but yeah, it's like they're not
I didn't notice.
Significant.
I didn't notice anything really that significant in it, so I don't think they're gonna do an Ayer cut. I don't think, and it's just like, it's a slippery slope, I feel like, where it's like, you know, the Snyder Cut fans were so intense and so passionate over these last couple of years. Like, that's the reason it got made.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily agree with the tactics that they use to get it made, but I understand their frustration. And I just don't think there's that kind of backing behind David Ayer or, you know, Fan Four Stick or any of these other ones that people say that have gotten away, directors say have gotten away from them. And you look at their track record since those movies, and it's not like they've been making any great stuff since then. So.
True. No, I agree with you. I mean, Bright was terrible. I didn't watch the Tax Collector. I hear it's bad, but
one of the worst of the year for sure last year.
Although I have a couple friends that absolutely loved it. I hear it's really bad. Let's see. Good. So I mean, yeah, man, I get your point too, man. I do, believe me, I get that point, and I think that's all good. I mean, Warner Brothers did back him on the statements about a music video company coming in and recutting the the so I know
that's what I'm saying. It is on record,
right?
That's real.
Did happen,
that's real
for sure.
Yeah.
But, the one thing that I mean, I will say is like, yeah, it could be bad. Who knows? But I think that that's
arguably the worst WB movie, like the DCE movie that they've made. You know
what? I'm going to be on this side of it. I'm going to trust that if we never see the Ayer cut again, it's probably bad. It's probably not great. I mean, like, if we never see it, it's probably not great, because like, I feel like otherwise, make it. I think if you see it and it's great, then make it. You know what I mean? Because that's not going to hurt you if it's great. You know, if you think that this is something people are going to gravitate toward, and regardless, I'm sorry, Cisco, about your opinions on the Snyder Cut, people love it. So that was a good move. It was a good move to do on their part. And like, I think that if you can see the same sort of potential in the David Ayer cut, then release it. If it's bad, then definitely don't do it. You know what I mean? I feel the same about any studio that decides to try to do this. So, you know, they will. You know, they'll try to bank on it. It's not just going to be Warner Brothers. Other studios are going to come forward now with this, because it turned out to be a win on Warner Brothers' end, and I think other studios are going to start to try to bank on this. And my advice to them would be, make sure it's actually a good cut and better than the thing that came before. You know, before you try to release it, because if it's not, then it's just pointless. So I'm going to take the fact, if we never see an Ayer cut, I'm going to take that as a sign that whatever he had probably wasn't good either. That's the sign that I would take. And if we do see it, then I'm going to take it as a sign that, you know, hopefully they have a win on their hands here, and I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, curiosity would get the better of me regardless. So, you know, I do.
Yeah, I just, for Christmas, my dad got me the Godfather 3 new cut, the Coda, Godfather something Coda.
Is it good? I want to watch it.
I haven't watched it yet.
Damn, I want to see it.
Because I want to watch all 3, you know what I mean, together.
Yeah,
I like
doing
that.
That's why I've been waiting as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to watch it, but it's just I don't know. It is fascinating. I'll give you that. Where like HBO did a couple years ago, they did like a new cut of Godfather 1 and 2 where kind of it was like one movie.
Yeah.
And it was like super long. It was like basically the Snyder cut. It was like 4 hours
Right.
but it was 2 movies, and they put in
Right.
all these deleted scenes and stuff, and I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm interested. I have heard people say that it is like slightly improved, but like my dad also said that he didn't really notice any significant changes too. So,
Okay.
But it's always going to be a thing, you know, director's cuts and people. I mean, you know, just sticking with Francis Ford Coppola, he's constantly done. I think there's like 3 cuts of Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
And there's like
Blade Runner has 3 cuts.
Blade Runner, you got the Godfather 3 new cuts, and like the HBO new cut.
Yeah.
It is. I am interested in when it's a movie I do like, where I'm like, maybe I'll like it even better. You know what I mean?
I gotcha. Yeah,
but,
no, the bias kind of sets in when it's a movie you like for sure.
Yeah, but so I understand why Snyder fans, if you're really into his movies, you would want to see a different cut. I'm just not personally invested in that.
That's fair.
But I understand. I understand on that level.
I mean, I just feel like with the David Ayer situation, this is my honest opinion, the reason that his last 2 movies turned out bad is probably because his morale went down as a filmmaker entirely once his movie got recut and just he got screwed. So I do think he is owed a little bit there. You know what I mean? I do think that he's owed. I just think it's right to do. The studios have been screwing filmmakers for a long time, and I think that, like, I'm not saying like every studio should go out there and release a new cut for every movie for anybody who's gotten screwed, but I mean, this is something that's public knowledge and it's known, so I think it would be okay to make it right. I understand it's not show friends, it's show business. I get that, but on the same hand, I mean, just make it right. You know what I mean? It's public knowledge. Show that you are a new leadership that has integrity, and just do the right thing. I feel like, and then we once we see these cuts and they all suck and they don't suck or whatever the hell. I mean, we'll move on from it. We'll get it right eventually. We just got.
You watch South Park?
I do.
I
don't keep up with it, but I've seen South Park.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you seen the Pandemic special.
No, I didn't get to watch it.
Okay,
I haven't watched it yet.
I don't know. When you just said integrity, there's like a whole storyline where Randy opens up like a weed farm, and he calls it Tegrity Farms. Tegrity.
That's great.
I highly recommend those. There's a Pandemic special that came out last year. Yeah. And then there's a vaccination special which just came out a few weeks ago.
What service is South Park on anymore?
HBO Max.
Is it?
They're right on there. Yeah, all the seasons, and then but like specifically those 2 specials, they released it like during quarantine, and then one just like a couple weeks ago just with the whole vaccination stuff. And dude, they're just
it sounds fun. I'll have to do it.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker, they just don't miss, man. They're
pretty good.
I don't know how you're this funny these many years later, but they just make me laugh so hard.
Oh yeah, they're great. I agree. I really like their I like South Park. I'm a fan. But anyway, guys, so I think that's all the stories that we have for today. Cisco, thank you for being on, dude, and where can people find you?
Thank you. Yeah, it's Misfit_minded on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Also Rampage _Misfit on Twitter as well. And on Stereo, Misfit_minded, we do a show every Saturday called Saturday Matinee. This week we tackle 2 movies with the similar theme. We're doing Dementia with Dick Johnson is Dead and The Father, which I'm excited to get into those movies. Cool. I also have we're doing a Rob Zombie special next week. Me and somebody on Stereo, where we're going to be tackling all of House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and Three from Hell, that trilogy. And I just recently, like I was saying earlier, I recently reviewed the Wrong Turn reboots, which was fun on Movie Lovers, TV Lovers Unite on YouTube. So check all that stuff out. And thank you for having me again, Dom.
No problem, man. And you can find me on Twitter at Dom_Martino_ and on Instagram Dom_Martino_official. And you can follow me on Stereo as well. I've been doing a lot of shows with Sammy Ramirez. That's at Sammy Ramirez and at Dom Martino. Make sure you follow both of us. And it's been a lot of fun. It's a great way to interact with the listeners and all that. Like, So it's been a fun
Oh,
time.
yeah.
So yeah, make sure you go over there. And also, last thing, make sure you hit the like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section if you want to see more, and hit that bell for notifications. Otherwise, Jareth will come in and murder me. So we don't want that. So make sure that happens. Yeah. So yeah, guys, thank you for joining again. And this has been fun. And see you guys later. Yep. Bye.